Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch Show, we're going to focus in a lot on Governor Tim Walz and Minnesota and how it's falling apart between the fraud hearings and the massacre that took place in the streets where an ICE agent had to defend himself and in response had to kill a woman named Good because she did bad. Get ready. We're going to be on fire today. Lots of clips, and it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Florida, and we have a jam-packed show for you. So I'm going to get right into it after I say thank you. Thank you for all the shares when you're watching us on Facebook and when you're watching us on YouTube and when you're watching the replay on Rumble and on Facebook. When you hit the share button, you help us grow, and that is humongous for us. So thank you so much. And don't forget, please go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Look for the Dennis Michael Lynch Show. Give us a subscribe. It's free. And give us a 5-star review. I appreciate it in a huge way. Yesterday, while we were doing the show, I had told you that there were hearings going on in the fraud case in Minnesota. And while that's happening, there are protests in the middle of the street. I'm watching all of this on the screen. And once the show is over, we start seeing what was happening. And an ICE agent had to defend himself yesterday, and he, as a result, killed a 37-year-old woman named Renee Good. Today's show is going to focus in on multiple different things, and I'm going to do the best I possibly can to deliver you what I think is a solid message on how deranged, dirty, and anti-American the Democrats have become. And there is no better poster child for this than Tim Walz. And if you think Tim Walz is alone in his horrible behavior, fraudulent behavior, you are greatly mistaken. He is just going to be the first pin to fall. And I think that we may be on the cusp, if Trump and the DOJ do this correctly, if Congress does this correctly, we may be on the cusp of destroying the Democrat Party. And they are literally doing it to themselves. Just like nobody can blame anybody for Miss Good's death other than blaming Miss Good and obviously the mayor of that city and the governor. We're going to start off here with what took place yesterday in Washington, D.C. The fraud hearings. You know, a lot of times these congressional hearings offer us nothing at all, other than a bunch of sound bites. But this time, I think the Republicans may recognize that they've got something here, that it's so big and that it's so apparent that we may actually see some people be indicted. Seriously indicted. Tim Walz, A.G. Ellison, they should be the first two. Representative Luna, I like her. She believes that based on what she heard yesterday in these hearings, that she can say easily to the DOJ that Walz and Ellison were complicit in the fraud that took place, stealing money from you and from me into the what probably will come out to be about $19 to $20 billion. Here is what Luna said yesterday during the hearing.
Chair recognizes Ms. Luna.
Thank you, Chairman Comer. Honorable Robbins, based on your record before your committee, when did Governor Walz first become aware of widespread fraud in Minnesota social service programs?
I would assume that he has been aware of it since he ran for office for governor in 2018.
By 2017, DHS investigators warned CCAP fraud could exceed 50%. What was that information elevated to the governor's office?
Yes, there was an OLA report.
Thank you, ma'am. By 2020, state officials knew feeding our future invoices were fraudulent. We know that payments continued to the AG's knowledge. Did they continue to the governor's knowledge as well?
Yes.
Attorney General Ellison agreed on tape to fight Minnesota's own Department of Human and Health Services in exchange for Somali political and financial support. In your personal opinion, do you believe it is a possibility that Governor Walz also made that personal deal, or that he at least knew about the Attorney General's agreement?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't want to rehash what you guys have spent hours answering. We know that there's a big issue with the fraud in Minnesota. So on a number of things, I'd first like to point out, thank you for being here today, but because of your testimony and because of some of the evidence that we've seen brought forward, as well as I'm sure the fact that this committee, I assume, at Chairman Comer's direction, will be soon subpoenaing AG Ellison, I would like to make criminal referrals regarding Governor Walz as well as AG Ellison. As you know, U.S. Code 371 and U.S. Code 2, which deals with criminalized conspiracies to defraud the United States and establishes liability for individuals who knowingly aid or abet the commission of federal offense, includes willful blindness or deliberate inaction where duties to act exist. So I will be referring them later on today.
Okay, that's a great start. That is a really, really strong start. And I think that Pam Bondi is chomping at the bit to have something new that will take the Department of Justice and bring it back into a favorable place with conservatives. Because to this day, so many conservatives complain about Pam Bondi and the DOJ in such a way that I get concerned that Trump may not have the people in place that he needs in order to get things done. Pam Bondi may be able to turn things around now. She may look at this as an opportunity to showcase that she's worthy of the job. And that would be great, because this is so much more important than the Epstein files. This is your money and your country being squandered, and it is unacceptable, and it has to stop. And this, like I said minutes ago, could be the start of the destruction of the Democrat Party, where it cannot recover for decades. For decades. Because other than the far left crazy nutbags, and there are a lot of them, but they don't make up a big, huge pile of people. Aside from them, you will get a lot of people who are center and center left who maybe don't like Trump so much. They will abandon that Democrat Party and they will come over. And if they don't come over, they'll just give up and they won't vote at all. And that works to our favor. Now, I want you to know how severe these allegations are against Walz. When the Minnesota government were getting applications from the Somali residents, refugees, green card holders, whatever you want to call them, they were basically just approving everybody for millions of dollars. It is a scam of tremendous proportion, because in giving that money out like that and allowing those communities to grow at the level to where they grow. Remember, I've told you this how many times in the last few weeks. The average Somali woman will give birth to 6 kids in comparison to the national average for white women being 1.5. Peggy's going to have 1. Barbara's going to have 2. We got 1.5. 6 Somalis. So that whole Somali crowd, even with Trump stopping immigration from Somalia and other countries like it, we still got ourselves an abundance of people, and they are metastasizing in terms of having births constantly. So these Democrats know that just like California is a blue stronghold, Minnesota could actually become the #1 state for liberalism, eventually Islam, and for corruption. There is an audit Minnesota auditors are going in and taking a look at what's happening. And when they alerted Walz and all these other agencies that they were being audited, they literally made up fraudulent documents. There's a paper trail here, people. Here are the auditors revealing on Tuesday what it is indeed that they have.
During the course of our audit, we identified a number of documents that the Behavioral Health Administration either backdated or created after our audit began in response to our requests for information. We noted that during the...
Okay. I mean, how incredibly insane is that? So, you know, that is, you have so many crimes here, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm probably going to fall short on them. But fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, falsifying documents, bank fraud. I mean, the list of things are so huge. These would carry lifetime prison sentences because the crimes and the dollar amounts are so egregious. And then on top of that, the people who were benefiting from this, politicians up and down, if it's the mayor all the way up to the governor, you've got the Somalis and all of the NGOs and all these BS agencies that I've told you are probably getting all kickbacks. Everybody's getting rich on this but you. And then, of course, much of that money also went over to fund terrorism. So now, if you think about it, look, if I today send $1 million to Al-Shabaab, I am funding terrorism. I am a co-conspirator. So, I mean, the amount to defraud the United States, to trigger and support terrorist activity, I mean, this is in many cases treasonous. So these are very serious crimes. This isn't one of those towing the line, was she 18 at the time or 17 at the time? And even if she was 17 at the time, you know, no, this isn't one of those. This is so horrible. And the paper trail is going to nail this guy. It's going to nail a lot of people. And if the DOJ and Donald Trump's administration does not take this over the goal line, then I can assure you that our country is finished. You know, I had a major viral video about last week, I think it was, 2 weeks ago. Everybody, James Woods, the actor, everybody, General Flynn, they all retweeted it. It was a 30-second video where I said, if there are not indictments in this Minnesota fraud and jail sentences, it means that this administration, the principles of MAGA, and the rule of law are all full of shit. And it went viral with millions and millions of plays because everybody agrees with that. And I'm sure Trump knows this at this point. There cannot be any backroom deals, good guy deals. If you are a senator, if you are a congressman, if you are part of the DOJ, and you have been looking the other way at crimes committed or bad things committed on the other side of the aisle because you're afraid that they're going to come after you next, and so that's why it's a uniparty, this has got to be beyond that. These people can go to jail and prison for so long that anything they say about you will never come back to hurt you. If this is not done correctly, we are finished. It's that simple. Now, with that the precursor, let's take you into Minnesota yesterday and what happened with the ICE agent and this Renee Good. First of all, we need to understand something. The assault on ICE just didn't start. This has been going on now for almost a year. Come January 21, it will be a year that ICE agents from coast to coast have been under fire from radical left Democrats, Antifa, socialists, communists and just mentally insane people who don't have jobs and who are paid to go out and protest and aggravate and agitate. It has been going on. How many shows have I done? And I even went into retirement for a little bit. How many shows have I done where I have showed you that there are riots, protests outside ICE facilities? I've shown you videos where ICE agents are trying to do their job, be it in LA, Chicago, wherever it is. They're getting attacked. They're getting things thrown at them. They're getting spit in their face. Cars chasing them down as deadly weapons. People being doxxed. People now these guys all having to wear bandanas over their face, covering up their face because they're having people show up at their house and threaten their wives and kids. I mean, it is widespread how dangerous it is to be an ICE agent. In fact, just to personalize this a little bit, when Kristi Noem put out that there was a $50,000 signing bonus and excellent salary and benefits for ICE agents because they were doing a massive recruiting, I said to both of my sons, hey, this may be something you want to consider. I'll figure out how to do the podcasting by myself, and I think I'm retiring anyway. And my sons really considered it. But at the end of the day, it is so dangerous. Who wants to have a job where you have to always look over your shoulder, not only when you're working, but when you're home? These ICE agents have been attacked, and the reason why that is goes up the ladder to people like Tim Walz, to people like Mayor of Minneapolis Frey, to Nancy Pelosi's, to AOC, to all of these radical Democrats that keep on referring to ICE as Gestapos, as Nazis, as haters. It is a propaganda machine that further gets spread by the mainstream media. These are federal agents that are literally carrying out the laws that are on the books of the United States of America. If you don't like the laws, don't attack the ICE agent. Run for office. Get the laws changed. But right now, we have laws on the books. And illegal aliens, many of them gang members, many of them multiple crime offenders, and they steal Social Security numbers. They steal money. They are driving up the cost of rents, the cost of food. They are destroying our culture. We're paying for all their children. This is not like ICE is going in and grabbing grandma and grandpa because they made a mistake, a line item mistake on their tax return and didn't send in the $150 they should have. This isn't even like they're going in and getting some, poor minority that didn't have enough food, didn't have any money to buy food, so he went and stole a candy bar from the local 7-Eleven. We are going after people who have raped, murdered, laundered, stolen, assaulted. These Democrats are literally protecting the worst of the worst people in society. And that seems to go totally over the head of the CNN and the New York Times and the Governor Fraud Walz. But it doesn't go over your head and it doesn't go over my head. And as I've told you on this show for many years, and it is only being proven more true each and every day, the most dangerous people in the world are the white female liberals. And if you want to ratchet that up a step, tie in transgender or lesbian. They seem to be so angry at the world. They are just so unhinged. They have no sense of rational thinking. And I'm going to prove it to you at the end of the show when I read you an email I got. There is a woman, Brenna O'Connor. That is the name that I saw online attached to the woman you're about to see. Reportedly, she is a public defender in Minnesota. We're going to play a video for you here. Now, think about this. You went to law school. You took on, I'm sure, tons of debt, or your parents did for you. You learned all about the law, and what you're now going to do with that law degree is you're going to participate in what I consider to be violent protests, anti-government protests. Here is Miss O'Connor leading a group of people, telling her how they're going to block, this is what it appears to me anyway, that they're going to block a public building, a government building. Listen to this. This is the white female. Play.
I don't have to do anything. I don't know. I say we line up right across these and block these doors. Yeah, right. Let's go! I second that motion. Go ahead. Try and move us. Let's block them in.
And you know what? She's a lawyer, so is that all right? Is that all right?
I refuse to provide legal advice.
Oh, okay, it's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's all right, because we're not
But I
doing
will
nothing wrong.
say, misdemeanor bail, $78 exactly is the minimum bail. Make sure you have some cash on you when
I got
you
some
are
cash
out.
for everybody. Here it
Make
is.
sure that you get yourselves out.
For real. Yeah. Right or not. So let's organize and let's lock these doors up so they can lose business and deal with this atrocity that happened. If they arrest us all, it's going to be a party.
So let's talk about, and you know, she's a perfect example. How many times have you seen females like that? They're completely unhinged. They're looking for the attention. I bet you the majority of these women have daddy issues, no doubt in my mind. Let's take a look for a second on Renee Good. Renee Good is the woman who is now dead. Renee Good doesn't have to be dead. She could be alive and well today. But because of her ideology and the brainwashing that she has been victim to, and I am going to call her a victim. She's a victim to liberalism. It is literally a brain disease. And these people listen to the mainstream media. They go online. They listen to the hate. And they're lashing out against the world. These are really mentally insane people. So think about this for one moment when you think about what Miss Good did yesterday. And I'm sure you've all seen the visuals. We will play a little video here in 2 seconds from Jesse Waters because he slows down the video. But I don't want to go too deep in the analysis of this whole the car thing. But let's just go down into it. ICE agents are in Minnesota. The liberals and the protesters know this. They don't want it. They don't like it. They want to protect terrorists, pedophiles, rapists, you name it. So she is apparently one of the leaders of this whole thing. And what wound up happening yesterday is that because it's snowy, an ICE agent's car got stuck in the snow. And so now ICE agents are going to come to try to get the car out. And she leads a campaign of blocking this and blocking ICE agents from trying to get the car out and conduct their business. She is literally impeding with law enforcement. Federal law enforcement. You couldn't get more stupid. So she takes her car, as you've seen, and she angles it like on 30 degrees to where she's going to block the road so the ICE agents can't do anything. Well, you know what? The ICE agents have been dealing with her all day. So reports are that she was doing this all day. And so what happens? They get out of the car. 3 agents are out. 1 is standing in front of the car. 2 are coming up to the driver's side. She's got a window down. And the officer says twice that you can clearly hear on the video. And, you know, here's the other thing. Good was being filmed by a lot of people. So it was all coordinated. People are filming this because they think it's so cool and hip and funny. One of the people, apparently, that was filming this is reports based on Daily Mail, is her lover. Miss Good is a lesbian. Now, Miss Good is 37 years old. She describes herself as a poet, originally from Colorado. She was married to a guy, a comedian. They had a child together, apparently. He died 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And since then, she's flipped it. She's gone to the other team. She went from being somebody who liked guys to now she likes girls. And she uses all the pronouns in her title. So she moves to Minneapolis to do this, I guess. And so now she's on an angle, and she's being told by the ICE agents to get out of the car, and her car is stationary at this very point. She's not going to listen. That's problem number 2. Problem number 1 was impeding. Problem number 2 now is she's not listening to the orders by a federal agent to get out of the car. Now, if you watch the video, and we'll play for you in a couple of seconds here, but if you watch the video, you will see that what she does is she starts to back up a little bit as the agent is going forward, and he's trying to open her door. She's in reverse. She hits the brakes. You can see it because the brake lights go on. Now, keep in mind, you've all been in this situation before. Maybe not with an ICE agent coming up to your car, but you've been there. You go in reverse, and then you're going to go forward. Your eyes have to be looking down, whether it is you have a gear shift. I don't know enough about her car, but she's either got a gear shift or she's got a middle shifter, or now, these days you got buttons. So she had to go through the process, the mental decision process of taking her car in reverse and then saying, now I'm going to go forward. There is no excuse here. Oh, my car slipped on the ice. I couldn't get it in gear. None of that. She used the brakes, and then she releases the brakes and goes to speed off, even though the officer is right there telling her to stop and to get out. And as she goes, she blasts those wheels because she's spinning a little bit, and you can tell that she never hits the brakes. So when she gets back into forward, you've been there before, whatever it is, you look, you get it into drive, and you look up. When she looks up, just like I see a camera right now, she sees an ICE agent. She doesn't give a rat's ass. Her mental insanity, bad decision-making, says not only am I going to drive right at this guy, but I'm going to try to go break off to the right as if I'm going to escape this. As if even if she didn't get shot dead, as she drives away, like ICE agents aren't going to freaking detain her and arrest her. The thinking is just so demented. And it all matches into this is a huge mental insanity play. Ever since COVID, people have gone more crazy than ever. And then boom, the cop shoots through the windshield, and then it sounds like another 2 firings went off. Whether those hit her or not, I have no idea. But she got hit. She's dead. She crashes a car into another car, and there you go. This video right here from Jesse Waters not only shows the bullet hole in the front of the window, which proves that the guy was trying to defend himself with a car coming at a 2,000-pound or maybe 3,000-pound car coming at him, right through the windshield. And then it slows down, and you can see that this man was going to lose his life to this car. Play it.
Different angles show different things. You can see here the officer was actually hit by the car, and the first round he fired went straight through the front windshield as the car barreled directly at him. When you slow it down, watch the tires. She floors it so hard the tires spin out, and the vehicle heads directly towards the agent, and then bears right later.
And again, I think the part that Jesse Waters misses there, and I haven't seen anybody else except for myself online mention this, the brake lights are everything. Think about this for a moment. If you are in a car and you're panicking and everything is going, right? And you think you're going to be arrested and you want to flee the spot, and you see an object, a human being in front of you, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit the brakes, or at least attempt. Hit the brakes and then say, oh, shit, I'm getting out of here. And boom, you go off to the right. Excuse my profanity. She didn't do that because she has no regard for anybody else's life. She has no regard for the law. She has been told by Walz and everybody else that the man standing in front of her is the Gestapo, that the man standing in front of her is a bounty hunter. And so, therefore, she must go with no regard to what happens to him. Well, you know what? This officer was already dragged by a car months ago. He wasn't going to have it done again. This man does not have to risk his life to a protester. It's hard enough to be an ICE agent going after freaking MS-13 and Venezuela gangs and these other illegal aliens, Somalis, whoever it is that they're going after, who want them dead to begin with. He's not going to subject himself to, maybe I die, maybe my kids are left with nobody. No, what he did yesterday is called self-defense. This did not have to happen. This is not like they went into a house without a warrant because they thought that there was a bad guy there and inadvertently they shot an innocent kid. This is not that situation. This could have been 200% avoided. Miss Good put herself into that situation, and that is why Miss Good is now dead, leaving behind a child. Now, to make matters worse for Miss Good and all the people who want to protect her bad behavior, a witness says that Good was leading this entire thing. So she's double guilty. Ryan, play the video.
I think she was the target.
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
There you go. There's an eyewitness. Now, the next video here, just again to make the case against Miss Good, is the fact that Kristi Noem has information from the ICE agents who say this woman was on us all day long. She's an agitator. Play Kristi Noem 1.
Stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
There you go. So, look, I'm going to say something here, and I want to be very clear. Renee Good has nobody to blame for her death but herself. With that being said, we all look up to someone or something. God should be the highest that you look up, right? But my son looks up to me. I would look up to my president. We all look up to God. Leadership. The reason why my kids are solid, they don't do drugs, they're not out there drinking on weekends, causing issues, they don't get DWIs, they do good in their grades, they show up for work every single day. People love them because they're good kids, because they looked up to the leaders of the house, mom and dad, and we provided them a stable environment. We gave them good lessons to be learned. We gave them everything that they would want and need to be successful. If you are a leader, if you are a mayor, if you are a lieutenant governor, if you are a governor, you have a responsibility more than just to govern. You have a responsibility to lead. You are an example. You know, one of the greatest leaders of our lifetime was Ronald Reagan. And one of the things that I used to play all the time when I was giving my speeches and doing my tours, I would give a section on leadership. And I would play videos of Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, George Bush Jr. I would play these. And in each, even Marco Rubio, and in each case, these politicians are always blaming somebody else, pushing off the blame for what has happened, never taking accountability. Well, you may remember the Iran-Contra when Reagan was president. Reagan addressed the country, and he said, I didn't know anything about any of this, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It falls on my shoulders because it happened on my watch, and I'm sorry for that. That is leadership. That is accountability. That is what people will aspire to be. And that's why I've always looked at Reagan as being a guy that I wanted to be. If I was ever going to get into office, I was going to be the next Reagan. Imagine wanting to be the next Walz? A governor filled with fraud and hatred and vitriol? The lieutenant governor of Minnesota got on a cell phone and did a selfie video. So it wasn't like off the cuff, somebody asked her in a press conference and she gave a bad answer. She had intent. She took her phone and she basically told the people of Minnesota, when ICE comes, use your body, do whatever you gotta do. She ignites this. She propels this. She incites violence and she incites a riot as far as I'm concerned. Play the video, Ryan.
Are being disappeared. P.S. Without due process, it is just called kidnapping. Then show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line.
Who does that? Who does that? You don't do that. First of all, what are you doing? You're protecting illegal aliens and criminals. And then second, you're telling good taxpayers that if you want to protect yourself and your state and your well-being and your money and your home and your neighborhood and your school and your kids, you got to fight ICE agents. This is mental insanity. Now, the reason why they do that is because these people make so much money from all the fraud. They make the money from all these people being in place, the fraudsters being in place, the kickbacks being in place. They make a ton of money. They keep their power. That's why they want to push all of these liberals. Get out there. Don't let them take people away. Do you think that they're really caring about defending some illegal alien? They don't give a rat's ass. They're defending the fraud. They're defending the congressional census that will align with what they want, and that is they want every single House member to be a Democrat because that's how it works. Send us all your illegal aliens. We'll take it because they get counted, and that's how you get your representation. It is a fraud that is so huge, it's almost impossible to capture, almost like trying to take a snapshot of the Grand Canyon and say, hey, this is it. You can't do it in one spot. You got to go all around it. That's how big this fraud is. Now, Walz is such a slime ball. He calls ICE, he refers to ICE as the Gestapo. That's not leadership. That's evil. That's demonic. Here is Walz totally lying as if like he wants to help ICE in doing what they're doing, but says, hey, they won't include me. Play it.
Portland, or you're in LA, or you're in Chicago, or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. If you're in Portland, or you're in LA, or you're in Chicago.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kristi Noem says it straight out. Kristi Noem tells people what it's like dealing with Minnesota government when it's time to go into that state and try to do the job the DHS and ICE has to do. Play Kristi 2.
Never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done investigations, whenever we've done police work, when we've been doing what we can to bring people to justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation of the state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officers, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss.
Yeah. So you've got two different narratives going. Kristi Noem's like, hey, they won't help us at all. And Tim Walz is calling on everybody to help them. And just as bad as him is this dirtbag, this little tiny twerp who you could probably break with a little finger flick, Mayor Frey. I have a buddy who his last name is Frey, and he calls it Fry, Fry, whatever it is. Think about this for a moment. If you're the governor, you're the mayor, and you just see what happens. You see all the videos. You see, that ICE agent did get hit by the car. That ICE agent did shoot in through the front of the windshield because it was coming right at her. Man, this doesn't look good. You know what? We can't have more of this. We can't have George Floyd riots. No way can we have it. let's get up there and say, we're going to be looking into this. Everybody be calm. We know that you don't like ICE agents here, but at the end of the day, it is federal. And if you don't like that sort of thing, show up and vote in the midterms. That's not what they say. They propel more violence. They fire people up. They throw gasoline on the fire. Here's Frey.
Seeing the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull to ICE. Get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.
There you go. There you go. Now, the craziest part of all of this, it's very hard to believe that Walz has any legal minds around him. You know, his AG is, like I said in the beginning of this, the AG is going to be brought up as well by the DOJ. We told you yesterday in the show that there were recordings that the Somalis were coming in with the whole food scam and asked AG Ellison if he would please help them. He said he would, making sure that they got their payments. And remember what I've explained to you. He is a Muslim. He's sworn on a Quran, which means that his alliance is to Allah. And Allah allows Muslims to use taqiyya. And taqiyya is the ability, it's like a permission slip, that you can lie, steal, cheat, do whatever you have to do to advance civil jihad of any kind. So that's what this guy's going to do. Right? Well, I don't know who's advising Walz, but Walz gets up yesterday and warns Trump, after he tells Trump and Kristi Noem to get out, warns Trump, warns ICE, and warns America that he's getting the National Guard. He's going to bring in the National Guard to stop these federal agents from doing what they're doing. Play the clip.
To prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner.
So let me explain this to you from a law perspective. And again, full disclosure, I'm not a lawyer, but I understand what I understand. There's a thing called Title 32. And through Title 32, the governor can call upon the Minnesota National Guard to carry out actions within the state of Minnesota, or any state for that matter. Florida has their guard, and California has their guard, and New York has their guard, and so forth. He can, if there's a national disaster, call upon the guard, have them come in and work. He can, if there's riots, call in the National Guard, let them come in and do their work. Now, keep in mind, Tim Walz allowed his city to burn down to the ground during the George Floyd riots. Did nothing about it. Let it happen. Just let it go. But now he's going to call in the National Guards to stop the federal agents from carrying out ICE, official ICE work, detentions, deportations. You can't do that because there's a thing called Title 10, which supersedes Title 32. See, the National Guard is paid for in small part by the state, but in large part by the federal government. The National Guard is under the management of the president and the Pentagon. So if he takes his National Guard and says to these people, like he said, lawyers, doctors, whoever they are, go out there and fight your fellow federal officer. First of all, I would expect the guards to say, are you out of your mind? Secondly, if he did do that, all Trump has to do is pick up the phone and say, we are federalizing the National Guard. You no longer have them, Tim. They are on our side. That is not Tim Walz's National Guard. It is Trump's National Guard. And the fact that this clown doesn't know that tells you that he is completely unfit to run a freaking fruit stand, let alone a blue state the size of Minnesota. Now, with that said, I want to be very clear on something. The reason why Minnesota is so screwed up is because its people, the majority of its people, are not playing with a full deck at all. I will come back to you and say it again, and I don't mean this to be sarcastic, funny, or cute. There is something wrong with the liberal brain. All of them. The worst of them are the white female liberals, especially the ones who are lesbians, like Miss Good. But also with the men. Also the men. I could play a video for you right now. It's 2 minutes long, but it is so worth every second. Because this guy, like Miss Good, is a great representation, just like Miss O'Connor, who I showed you earlier in front of the courthouse. They are great representations, poster children, for what the white liberal female is all about. Now I'm going to show you the white liberal guy. 2 minutes. Listen to this guy, what he says after what happened yesterday between the ICE agent and Good. Play it.
It's like with George Floyd. We not gonna, what? We gonna tear this motherfucker up. That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the fucking government. It's the facts. It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. It don't get no worse than this. It don't.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I know that's right.
What the fuck? I have a little baby. I have a little fucking baby, man. And it's like I had to adopt her to protect her from this shit. You put a baby to my gun's head, you put a gun to my baby's head, I'm gonna hurt somebody. That's what they're doing to us. I'm not Hispanic, I'm black. I just be sitting home, smoking my weed, enjoying my money. But I'll die about this shit. I don't have no quality of life left. And if you think you do, you're fucking nuts. We don't have no quality of life left. My wife is a documented, she has her work permit, it's legit. She won't go to work because they'll take her still. They're taking people that have documents. They're taking kids. They're doing all, you guys, this is where the world ends. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. They go snatch the president of Venezuela, but our fucking president is a sex offender. Why are we not the White House dragging him out? By his fucking collar! That's where we gotta go, you guys, the White House. This is only gonna go so far. This is bullshit. This is bullshit, you guys. This is bullshit. You can just abort a baby.
Now keep this in mind for one moment. This guy is claiming that ICE is going to stick a gun in his baby's head. I mean, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about delusional, mentally insane. You know, I've had Democrats before make this argument to me. Dennis, you know, these are good, hardworking people. I know they came in here illegally, but come on, man, who's going to pick the crops? You know, they're good people. You want to make that argument? You want to make the argument that says, you know, come on, these DACA kids, they came over here, they were dragged over here, they had no idea what was happening, they went through hell to get here, they only, you know, they came here when they were 2 years old, they only know America, this is their home. I will be able to fight those arguments, but they are intelligent arguments. They have something to them, especially from a humanitarian point of view. But what that idiot is saying out there makes no sense at all. It's fabrications. It's the Gestapo. It is the Nazis. That is all driven down into that man from the media. That's how that happens. And they get brainwashed, and this is what they believe. In fact, if you think about it, what he is doing is he's actually describing the illegal aliens that he is there on the street trying to protect. Talking about pedophile and talking about all this other different crap. He is out there in the streets defending criminals. These Democrats are laying down their lives for criminals. And then the second question becomes, hey, man, you got a baby? Why aren't you at work? Why wasn't Ms. Good at work? Why is Ms. Good able to sit there in the middle of the street? Well, she's described herself as a poet. I don't think poetry is making a lot of money these days. Are there any jobs? Do you know a single person in your life ever who gets paid for writing poetry? Please. And what would her poetry be? Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm an idiot. How about you? I mean, what is it that she's rhyming? So these people don't have jobs, and clearly they are being paid protesters, the majority of them. The other ones are just either on that welfare and they're trying to protect it, or like I said, because when people don't have purpose, when they don't have a job to go to, when they don't have a leader to look to, when they don't have something to get them up in the morning and feel good about themselves, they go into a deep, dark abyss to where indeed they become mentally insane. Look at Mrs. Good's life, just as an example. This is somebody who is married. She obviously went through a trauma having her husband die. She lived in frickin' liberal Colorado and then decides to go even to more liberal Minneapolis, where it's cold and blistery and just filled with Somalians. And she decides now she's going to be a lesbian. Tell me this. And now her whole full-time life appears to be protesting against ICE and putting her life on the line and trying to kill good men who are just out there doing their job. That is mental. It is horrifying to think that somebody has to go through that mentally, and never mistake of how many more people became mentally insane after they were locked up with COVID. She's probably one of those people who believed, Miss Good, that you had to wear 2 different masks, get vaccinated and boosted and everything else. So it is a mental insanity play here. Now, it is also a play because people want to be part of something, right? I talk about it all the time. People want to be part of something. That's why I created Team DML. You're part of Team DML. You're listening to my show. You're going to share it. Please hit the share button because you want to be part of a community, a like-minded community, right? So people search for that. They yearn for that, whether it's family, whether it's a team, whether it's, your classmates, coworkers. People love that. It's why you love going to the company's Christmas party, right? It's why you like to get together and play, Mahjong on weekends with your friends. People like that. They need that. So when these mentally unstable isolationists, because that's what they are, people who didn't get the kind of attention they need and wanted, what do? They paint their hair blue because that will give them attention. They say, I'm going to become a transgender. I'm going to switch sex because that's going to give me attention. They are attention seeking. So when they hear that there's going to be protests and they could be part of something, they're going to show up in droves because A, they don't have jobs. They've got nothing else to do. They're mentally insane. And because many of them are going to get paid. Last night, there were protests throughout the United States. Ryan's going to play you a minute 10 of it. And the reason why I'm going to play it for a minute 10, this video starts off in Minnesota, takes you to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, then takes you to New York, and then takes you to San Antonio. I want you to look at the signs and the faces of the people and how many are actually laughing and smiling. Play it, Ryan.
Leave
So there's a few things about that video that I think I need to point out to you. And then I want to read you this evil email I got from a white liberal female. But number one is all those protests were filled with white people, white liberal Democrats. Half of them probably have no idea of why it is that they're out there. They're laughing, they're smiling because they're out for the night and they're around people. They really don't have a passion for anything other than just being agitators. Now, the other thing, you got to give them a little bit of credit because as mentally as insane as they are and as violent as they are, they do realize the fact that you don't crap where you eat. Unlike George Floyd, these cities didn't burn down last night, did they? But that's a topic for another show. What I also find interesting is that the whites are always out there in all these big marches. They're marching for the Somalis, they're marching for the Iranians, they're marching for the Venezuelans, they're marching for, the George Floyds. You know what I didn't see last night? Miss Good is a white female. I didn't see any Somalis. Did you see any hijabs? Did you see any Somalis or any Muslims chanting and Allah Akbar? You see any of that? No. So it's funny. It's a one-way street. The whites are always there because they're agitators. Somalis were nowhere. There was no outrage. Hey, this woman's trying to protect us. No outrage at all. No outrage at all. With that said, every single time that I say that these liberals are insane, and every time that I say they are inherently sick and violent and can't control their emotions and use no common sense at all, I am never proven wrong. Case in point, I'm going to read an email to you that contradicts itself in such a way where it's just clean insanity. And here's the problem of this. I looked into who this woman is. This woman is a trauma nurse. This is how scary this is. God forbid you were hurt and went into an emergency room or went into a hospital and you had a MAGA hat on or a pro-Trump shirt on or a freedom shirt showing you were Charlie Kirk. You got to wonder whether or not this woman is going to wind up putting something in your IV, whether this woman's really going to wind up giving you the service that you need. And if you're laying there bleeding from your neck and then some liberal with a Bernie's t-shirt is next there with a I don't know, a sprained ankle, you're going to be put to the side until she takes care of the Bernie bro. This is what I got yesterday. Your hateful posts. Dear Mr. Lynch, I have no idea who you are or why you are well known. What I have found out by seeing all of 2 posts on my Facebook page is that you are what is wrong with this world. Degrading a woman, meaning Miss Good, degrading a woman who died trying to protect herself from violent bounty hunters is the lowest of low. If this had happened to a white man, you would have had a whole other story to tell. You are clearly sexist, and I am pretty sure if I looked through any more of your hateful posts, I would find out that you are also a racist. The liberal white women, and she put it in quotes as if that's what I say, the liberal white women of this world are the reason you are breathing, you racist ass face. I will be reporting your page every day and having everyone I know do so as well until it is taken down. Go live in the racist, fascist, sexist hole that you came out of. Sincerely, fuck you. And I apologize for the profanity, but that's how she signed it. So I looked into this woman a little bit because her name was on the email and she used her Gmail address. And it took me about 30 seconds to find out who was sending this to me and nailed it. I'm looking at a no joke 450-pound white liberal female out of the East Coast. And I see that this woman is a nurse. Holy cow. So I want to smoke her out and make sure that it's her. So I write, so if I come into your hospital, will you give me the care I deserve? Now she's so idiotic, she doesn't realize what I'm doing. I'm confirming that she is the person who sent it. She falls right into the trap. And here's what she writes. No, you'll get the same care as anyone else because I'm not a hateful person. Just as I'll treat anyone without papers making them legal or someone of any race, gender, or anyone. Because I'm not a hateful person and I believe everyone deserves to live. And she punctuates it with an icon of a middle finger. This is what I'm talking about. And so I went back to her and I basically said, in the past 24 hours, you have threatened me and my livelihood, used grotesque language and ugly innuendos that are unbecoming of a healthcare provider. You've threatened me with a mob approach. Copied herein is my attorney. In addition to sending your emails and personal information to the sheriffs in my area and yours, you are hereby advised that we are reaching out to our contacts at Facebook to highlight your threats, and we will use the legal system to unveil your actions against me. At this juncture, I am weighing all options. We will monitor things online daily. We will monitor things online every single moment. Please note, you risk being sued, and if I decide to move in that direction, regardless of victory being obtained or not, the discovery process will showcase your digital behavior and your employer would be deposed. Copies of your emails will be presented to them. We take this matter seriously, as should you. And let me tell you, the majority of people that you know would have ignored that. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore anything of that nature because somebody who would literally take to email and write something of that length and that degree and then not realize the fact that I'm smoking her out is demonic and dangerous. And ever since Charlie Kirk took a bullet, we can't play games with this anymore. You just can't wave these people off as being unhinged. You have to take them at their word. You don't lose your livelihood. You don't risk your family. You don't risk your own health because of nuts. People who have no discipline, who turn out to be 450 pounds and pretend to be as if they're some kind of healthcare provider and are going to write me messages calling me names, ass face, F you, middle fingers. No, they're unhinged. A normal person never sends that email. They look at my content, they don't like it, they go to the other direction. The unhinged can't control themselves. They have no self-control. You have to understand how to identify somebody who is very dangerous, like a Miss Good. She has no self-control. She has no barriers. This woman has no barriers. They're all the same. All the same. And if you let yourself be subjected to these people, you put yourself in harm's way. Don't do that. Report everything. Report it to your sheriff. Report it. Do everything you need to protect yourself, as do I. So any person who's on the left, any person who's radical who hears this, do not screw with the people who will not take your crap. We will not bow down. We will not cower. We will come back tenfold. This woman will probably end up losing her job and never work as a nurse again because she is a detriment to society and a very high-risk individual. And I cringe thinking that people are in her care right now. Cringe. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you very much. Please hit the share button. If you don't share, you don't care. I do appreciate you all coming in on YouTube, on Facebook, of course, on Team DML. If you want to become a member of Team DML and never miss a short video, never miss a podcast, we even have a new short podcast in the morning. If you want to get everything we put out every day, please go to teamdml.com. Just $20 for an entire membership for the entire year. You get so much stuff. And I don't get paid. I am like retired. I'm retired. I don't pay myself. I use the money to advertise us now, to put us out there, and to pay my kids who work with me. That's it. $20 for the entire year. You don't want to use Team DML. You don't want to use the app. You don't want to have the ad-free news that's in there. You don't want to have all the newsletters and all the content and everything. Well, then do it just to support us if you can, just to be out there. TeamDML.com, $20. Anybody and everybody can afford it. Thank you so much as we continue to grow. We only do so because of you. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, may God bless you, our troops, our ICE agents, our president, and even our foes may miss good, find peace. We'll talk to you soon.
Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple